By the will of the word of God, pujya Swami Muktananda, generally known as Mama, dropped his body at 10:15 this morning. Mama has been ailing for some time. We were hospitalized. And later he was brought back to ashram only. Ever since he retired from IDP in Hyderabad, he straight away moved to ashram only. And must be now more than 2 decades. And has been rendering his dedicated seva in the Nama Pracha and also in the Bhajan programs. The holy and powerful Ramnam has been so dear to his heart that whatever may be his physical weakness or limitations, he never used to miss it. Even when it was very difficult for him to walk all the way to the Samadhi Mandirs, he used to come. And that day, we remember immediately after his coming back from Hyderabad, one day he was telling us that he and his wife, Kannamma, they will go out and go to each and every house nearby and go there and chant Ramnam for 10 minutes. If they are interested, they will again continue. That was the seed of thought given to us, because he wanted more and more people to enjoy his Ramnam. And when in 2006, that was the 75th year of ashrams existence, the Sankalpa came in our mind that we must get at least 75 crores of Namjapa account. And so in 2005, when ashram took the initiative of meeting so many devotees and requesting them to do it, Kannamma was with a friend. And after the 2-3 rounds, and most of the places, not only Kerala, Tamil Nadu, Karnataka, Maharashtra, Gujarat, when Papa made it possible to reach the target, it was all because of this dedicated service. The moment a person is there willing to contribute, he will contact them by phone and personally motivating them to give and acknowledging everybody's Nama account. That was the one that gave him real joy. The more we think about it, because he was enjoying it, the more we think about it, becomes clear to us. He did not want this to be publicized, but he wanted everyone to get a taste of Ramnam. And when somebody comes who is in a position to melodiously sing, he will encourage them to sing, to take to Ram chanting. Today morning we were conveying this to Sri Krishna ji, because both of them spend a lot of time together. And in the front room, both of them sits. And we used to hear, Kananama used to ask him to sing in a particular tune. And Sri Krishna ji will readily oblige, and then the moment he enters the Ramana building, everybody will come to know everything. Always smiling, always positive, always talking about Ram. How many people got, and religiously on first day of the month, he will come to us with a chit, giving the account details. And then we mentally offer it when we go to Samadhi Bhajan Hall. In his own handwriting, he will write the chit and give. What is the total count of Nama received this month? How many people have contributed, and what is the total now? Meticulously following, it had become a part of his life. And he was having one prayer, that he should consciously leave the body. Today morning when we went to his room, unlike the past, somehow Papa wanted us to spend more than half an hour with him. And we knew, he was conscious. He was also answering, though with great difficulty. But we knew he will drop the body at any time. After 10 o'clock or 10, we must do the secretary. Then we just moved to Ramana building to give prasad to somebody. News came that we talked. That means he was fully conscious. Anybody who goes there will be chanting Ramana. His sons, Raja and Sundar, of course. Sundar's dedicated seva for the past 2 months is unparalleled. Day and night. He was with him one day, attending to even minor details. The other son who was in States also came here, spent about probably nearly a month. And there, while both daughter-in-laws were also present. So it is a great blessing that he could really enjoy the holy daughter of Pujya and motivate others to have a taste of it. Physically, we will not be missing him. We pray for Papa's blessings on the dear departed soul, for eternal rest at his lotus feet, and also to give strength and courage to all the family members and friends to bear his love bravely. Hari Om. The formation took place in the boat near Yunakom, but where the body fell. The body was taken 3 times Pradakshina to the Bhajan Hall, because he spent a lot of time in Bhajan Hall only. And exactly at the time of Bharati, the body was taken and then taken to the cremation ground. That much for today. Hari Om. When somebody drops the body and informs us, we used to remember Papa's quotation. We thought it would be appropriate if all of us come to know of it start digesting it, so that one day we also will have to depart. And we may have to witness many departing. So at that time, if we try to go through the words of Prabhupada, remember the words of Prabhupada, it will have a cushioning effect. Prabhupada says, all the world is a stage and all the men and women merely players. They have their exits and their entrances, as Shakespeare put it. It is perfectly right. When the stage manager says your time is up, you go behind the curtain. But let us know, it is a play and nothing more. We are in a dharmashala where we, the travelers, stay for a while and then depart. There is nothing permanent here. Once again we will read. First Papa quotes Shakespeare's words. All the world is a stage and all the men and women merely players. They have their exits and their entrances. It is perfectly right. When the stage manager says your time is up, you go behind the curtain. But let us know, it is a play and nothing more. We are in a dharmashala where we, the travelers, stay for a while and then depart. There is nothing permanent here. Again, Papa says, do not forget that you live and move in a world which is really a passing show. Do not be attached to it, nor be in any way identified with it. Take the whole world again for what it is worth. God is the only reality, the only truth, and to reach Him is the one principle and aim of existence. When you have sincerely struggled for and have ultimately attained Him, you will have fulfilled the mission of your life. Keep up the constant and unbroken remembrance of God. Again they repeat, do not forget that you live and move in a world which is really a passing show. Do not be attached to it, nor be in any way identified with it. Take the whole world away for what it is worth. God is the only reality, the only truth, and to reach Him is the one principal aim of existence. When you have sincerely struggled for and have ultimately attained Him, you have fulfilled the mission of your life. Keep up a constant and unbroken remembrance of God. Even in Quest of God, we will find Papa explaining about the two exits. One, when he was coming from Kedarnath or Badrinath, people were carrying, suddenly they looked in the water. And the old lady had dropped the body. The Papa keeps on mentioning about this, even when he used to highlight more and more about the transient nature of the world. So that at the time of when we say that when we become upset to somebody who is related to us, friendly to us, when they pass away, we feel very bad. We feel very sorrow. Initially it will be there, but in the shortest possible time, if we ponder Papa's words, we will come to know that it is only a play, and in this transient world, we cannot expect anything more. This applies to us also. One day we will also have to part with ours. But let us prepare our mind. Not getting attached with anything, not getting identified with anything. These are some of the thoughts which thought it would be appropriate to share on this occasion. Thank you. Chapter 17, Tarakanath Temple. Anybody would like to share some thoughts on this chapter?
Swamiji, page number 65. At first, each was served with the 2 puris and sweets, etc. The puris have been prepared out of mill-made mixed wheat flour.
Page number 64.
65.
63.
65.
Okay,
No,
that is a different book.
Okay. Must be the old book.
Each was served with the 2 puris and sweets, etc. The puris having been prepared out of mill-made mixed wheat flour were flexible like rubber. Ramdas was wanting in teeth. In all, he had not half a dozen in his mouth. Even those who had the full complement had to struggle hard with the puris before they could thrust down the throat. Ramdas' case was hence unique. So he's struggling hard to take the puris.
What is the message?
Pardon?
What is the message for us? We are trying to understand.
The message is, with half a dozen teeth in that, he was struggling for taking the puri inside.
Okay. That is from the book.
Yes.
We are trying to understand.
Yes.
In this Tarakanath Temple chapter, is there any message for people like us? For our sadhana?
Swamiji,
Yeah.
accepting all situations with a smile,
Yes.
not analyzing.
Simple faith and total acceptance. That alone can pave the way for ultimate surrender. So because Baba had already attained this, there was no problem for him. Many of us think, you have also pointed out this in your email, many of us think that in quest of God, that yatra, Parivraj yatra, that is started after attaining the goal, and we are nowhere near it. So in what way we can get benefited? It's a very pertinent question. Because throughout these 37 chapters, except in North, everywhere we find only episodes. And through each episode, Baba is trying to bring out the message of total acceptance of what is ordained by Ram with joy. Is it possible for us to do it? So we are always near to this state. Then why are we reading it? It's a genuine doubt, but at the same time we should know that God is prompting us to go through it, no? Why should we think that we have taken up this? Why not we start accepting the truth that He Himself is prompting us to take up this in-depth study of in quest of God? And every time when we go through, it may be an idea for us. So this keeps on coming back, accepting our situation cheerfully. There is no negative attitude at all on anything. Always maintaining a positive outlook. Always in a blissful state. Always leading a simple life with barest minimum. Or even that is not there in his case. And then constantly chanting, meditative chanting. And he takes to periodical retreat, solitude. He doesn't join any organization. He doesn't go around anybody, crowding around anybody for instruction or nothing. He was solely depending upon Ram, who is within and without. So how will we get the message if we don't go through? If we have not taken up, how do we know that we have already attained the stage? So let us not think that we as individuals are taking it up. Please keep on hammering this, that we have been now asked to take up this in-depth study of in quest of God, because He willed it. Not only He willed it, He is facilitating us to go through it in a most simple way. He prepared us. This would not have happened 5 years back or 10 years back. So, but He prepared us. And that was the incentive, to go in detail. Previously we were trying to remember the episodes. We were trying to read it as a traveler of Papa. Just like any other narrative. We also read it, that's all. Even when Mataji told us to read 11 times, we did not understand the why and why. But now we see, for the past 4 months, all of us have been sincerely, enthusiastically trying to go through many portions from this book and try to move with him, try to travel with him, knowing fully well that we are nowhere near him. But at the same time, we all find a joy in traveling with him. And many devotees get benefited because when they try to implement it, one of the factors that everywhere we look at positive, fixed resolve, sustained faith, optimistic hope. These are the three things which Papa always reminds us. Fixed resolve, sustained faith, optimistic hope. Throughout these 37 chapters, we find only a reflection of these things. So many people have been able to understand it and slowly translate this into their lives. So none of us need have any doubt that because Papa had attained the ultimate even before the trip, people like us who are nowhere near it, in what way it is going to benefit us, none of us need have any doubt about it. We all will have 100% benefit of it. Because more and more we are thinking about that. We become aware of our own limitations, our own insufficiencies, and where to improve, the areas to be improved. But we don't know the technique, but we are all struggling. We are sure by the end of this year, many of us or most of us will definitely have inquest of God in our mind in a permanent place. In the sense, we will be able to draw so many clues from it every now and then. When we go through the episodes where Papa is subjected to go through various types of experiences, suddenly we stop and remember, how do we handle? How did we handle? And then, oh, I should have handled in this way. That's a great achievement. To remember our limitation and to feel, oh, I should have done like this. That itself is a great gain. It is not for somebody else we are doing it. It is only for us. We will never have this feeling. In quest of God is really a manual of life manual. When we are subjected to go through various types of experiences, we need some refining, some change of attitude, because we know whether it has given us the required peace of mind. We don't say joy or blissful, we say peace of mind. We all need peace of mind. At the end of the day, we should have peace of mind. So in quest of God, when we go through with this attitude, will definitely have its own share of contribution for our peace of mind. With that background, we should go step by step or chapter by chapter. So in Taraknath temple, in that particular chapter, when he came out of the room, about half an hour passed us and he was still rolling on the floor, his face beaming with a strange light of infinite joy. That was the last portion of the previous chapter. So when he got up, he was still in that mood. He was not back to the news. Most reluctantly Ramdas got up and came out of that heavenly place. The sadhu guided him, but he was in a state of complete dreaminess at the time, to a garden behind the room. So this is a very important statement for us.
Bhakti Rasam. Bhakti Rasam.
Bhakti Rasam, you are right, Bhakti Rasam. Because when we have a cup of coffee, even after we have finished the glass or cup, still for some time, the aroma or the taste still stays there. Similarly, Bhakti Rasam, that's the right appropriate word. When his mind was full of Sri Ramakrishna Bhagavan and the devotion to the great Mahatma, that was there even when he got up. So even when he was moving about, the impact was still there. Whenever we go to a place, that is why, in good old days, elders used to say when we go to a temple, after getting prasad and everything, we should sit there for some time. Nowadays, we may also sit for some time for chatting something. But that was not the purpose. The purpose is whatever we have derived from the temple visit, we should be able to assimilate, so that even after when we go from the place of worship, we will be able to remember. Otherwise we will forget some aspect or something that had happened during our visit there, which strikes, which touches and kindles the devotional fervor in us. So this is a very important point. Not simply getting back to our usual.
Swami Sridhar ashram, after taking Tirtham, if you go to Mataji's room or see the cot where Mataji was sitting, we can feel the Mataji's presence there in the cot, Swamiji. Almost all of us would have felt that. Mataji sitting with smiling face on that on the cot. Yeah.
This should become a routine for us wherever we go. Not limited to Anandashram. Wherever we go, whenever God, the Almighty Lord of the Universe facilitates us to meet a Mahatma or to go to a place of worship or any place of importance, we try to go there, try to assimilate whatever. With a receptive mind, when we go, we will be able to see so many things. And then we just do not walk out. We go there, spend some time, coolly or calmly, and then leave the place. Last year when we were in Coimbatore, for a day, we were taken. Suddenly, one suggestion came that we go to a Sainath temple dedicated to Shirdi Baba. A little far off from the place where we were staying. Probably we would have spent more than 30-40 minutes in the vehicle. And when we reached there, the Arati time, so we were standing outside, nobody is allowed to enter. And suddenly, somebody came from inside and immediately removed the barricade and asked us to join him. And we were taken to various places. He first said, "We are sorry, we made you to stand right there. We never knew you were from Anandashram." He said, "Sorry, initially there will be some rules and regulations. So that's perfectly okay. No, we are connected to Anandashram. How? This temple came into existence because of one way Bhakta, who had only one home there, who had come to Anandashram, met Papa, spent some time, then took Papa's photo, and then he had kept there. So he said this temple and Anandashram have got some connection. Otherwise he would not have. He was the main cause for this temple. And he always used to say about Anandashram. And in his room, photo of Papa was there. They said we did not know what his background. New generation has come in. Then suddenly they brought back the photo. Why we are telling you now? It had happened 1 year back. So when we go to a place of worship, and when we have this strange experience, it will not be a touch and go. It will have impacted us definitely. Even now when we are reliving those moments. So this is what is expected of us. When Papa was there in the room where Bhagavan Ramakrishna Paramahamsa was sitting, and where he couldn't contain himself, he was rolling himself, Anga Pradakshina. He did not come out and then got back to the usual routine thing, no. That word is very, very important. He was in a state of complete dreaminess at that time. Then he was taken to Panchavati. Here the Paramahamsa used to sit frequently and offer Upadesh to his disciples. Then he led the way to small hut. You remember, this was all written after coming back. So the impression depth, the impression that had impacted Papa is such that we feel he is taking us literally to these places. The narrative is brought out in such a state, as if every time when he is there, he is giving us this narrative. So then he led a small hut wherein he said, Saint used to sit in samadhi or deep meditation of his favorite ideal, Mother Kali. O Ramdas, thy eyes are indeed blessed by these sighs. Flow on tears, warm with the glow of supreme happiness. So every now and then this soliloquy, this talking to oneself. Suddenly he raises himself to the pedestal of Ram, and Ram looking at Ramdas and makes the comment. It's very important. Taraknath temple chapter may look innocent, it doesn't have any other. No. When we go through it, sentence by sentence, we find. Suddenly, Ram comes into the scene and talks to Ramdas. O Ramdas, thy eyes are indeed blessed by these sights. Flow on tears, warm with the glow of supreme happiness. That means the connection is kept alive. That is the message. Not merely a narrative, not merely a visit to any place. What is more important is that connection with Ram and Ramdas are one. But for a devotee like us, if this is not brought about, we may forget. So what he experienced, he was able to reproduce it here in his own words, which tells us now, connect yourself with him. He is the one who is facilitating everything. And when you connect with him, he will talk to you, you will be able to hear. O Ramdas, thy eyes are indeed blessed by these sights. Flow on tears, warm with the glow of supreme happiness. Now the Bengali Sadhu proposed to take him on a visit to a young sannyasi, a disciple of Sri Ramakrishna. Agreeing, he was escorted and led away from the temple site for about a mile, where two sannyasis were found busy worshipping in front of the pictures of the Paramahamsa and Kali, placed in a small mandir. Ramdas and the Sadhu, on prostrating before the sannyasis, were invited to sit inside the temple. The puja over, they were given some prasad, on partaking of which they sought permission to depart. Coming back to the Kali temple, the Bengali sannyasi led the two sadhus to the bank of Ganges where the steamboat jetty was situated. From this place, the sannyasi pointed out the place called Velurmat. On the other side of the Ganges, he procured tickets for Ramdas and Sadhuram, conducted them to the steamboat, which they duly boarded. But before leaving, he suggested that when travelling onward by rail, they might make a halt at a shrine called Tarakanath and Tarakeshwar, a place worth visiting. This suggestion was kept in mind since it came from Ram himself, whose kindness was felt at every step of this most marvelous and memorable pilgrimage. Now again this connection is brought here. Even a small suggestion from a co-traveler or a guide, Papa brings it out as a instruction coming from or suggestion coming from. We lost your network. Even a suggestion from the guide, Papa immediately, we will take it casually, But Papa reminds us, this suggestion was kept in mind since it came from Ram himself, whose kindness was felt at every step of this most marvelous, memorable pilgrimage. This is the message for all of us. He is behind it, he is behind it, he is behind everything. That we have to keep on hammering. Because normally we say, after that I went there, after that I went here, that's all. But as devotees of Papa gives us the clue. You try to train yourself in this way. As if Papa is telling like that. Papa says, this suggestion was kept in mind, it came from Ram himself. Any suggestion coming from anybody, when we are on a pilgrimage, we are not seeing at the individual level, we are seeing at a higher level. That mysterious force is suggesting to us to know the varied manifestation of that mysterious force, mysterious power. So we pray to them. Every now and then we have to pray to that mysterious power within us and without us. Please make us aware. With all this reading, with all this hearing, we still think in terms of individually we are planning, individually we are doing, individually we are hearing. We are praying to God. You have facilitated everything for us. For the past so many months now you have been hammering this. Still, we are selective in bringing your name. In all our things, we are not trying to bring. Whereas when we go through the in-depth study of IQG, he is reminding us through so many words that it is he who is arranging it. It is he who is guiding. It is he who is making us to fulfill our desires. It is he who is making us not to fulfill our desires. No? This is the central theme of IQG. In due course, both the sadhus landed on the opposite side of the Ganges. A walk of about 2 furlongs brought them to a small temple where there resided a number of young men belonging to different parts of India. One of them took the sadhus inside a temple in which a painting of the Paramahansa was placed for daily worship. On inquiry, it was found that the temple was erected over the ashes of Sri Ramakrishna. Then the sadhus visited the beautiful Samadhi raised over the remains of Swami Vivekananda and the Holy Mother. Ramdas wished to spend a night at the mutt, expressed his desire to the friends at the place, but was told that as there was no accommodation, it was not possible to accede to his request. It was all the wish of Ram, who does everything for good. No disappointment. See the last word of the para. It was all the wish of Ram, who does everything for good. He makes Papa to request. He makes the people who are there to decline. But Papa is blessed with the vision that both these are happening only by his will. Thence they proceeded to the nearest railway station, got into a train going west, and one morning they found themselves at the Tarakeshwar station, where they alighted. Tarakanath, they proceeded straight to the famous temple of Tarakanath, in which it is said the Shivalinga had its spontaneous birth, Swayambhu, breaking up the roots of palmyra tree, hence the name Tarakanath. After bath and darshan, the sadhus went out to the city. Making inquiries, they learned that some liberal Raja was feeding 40 to 50 sadhus every day with a sumptuous dinner. Coming to the place, they waited along with many others outside the Dharmashala. About 11 o'clock, an old friend, the manager of the kshetra, called in the sadhus, counting the number required, and led them in one by one on a long veranda in 2 rows facing each other. All the sadhus sat down and leafy plates were placed before them. When the food was being served, a new sadhu of middle age came in and demanded food. The manager of the kshetra at first refused to take him as the number to be fed was complete. But at the mention of the fact by the sadhu that he had not had meat for 2 days past, he was also offered a leave, and he sat down at a place which happened to be just opposite to Ramdas. So many things have been minute things, have been brought out by Papa in this narration. The act of the Raja of some feeding, and there is an organization which does the feeding, and they must have some rules and regulations. Any organization should have some rules and regulations, no doubt. Otherwise it cannot be run. But at the same time there are exemptions. So in charge, when he came to know that this particular sadhu had not had any food, he was able to break the rules and regulations and made him to sit. And now, the dinner consisted of wheat puris, pretty thick at about 16 inches in diameter, some bhaji or curry, and seeds. At first each was served with 2 puris and sweets. The puris having been prepared out of mill-made mixed wheat flour or flexible dry rubber. Ramdas was wanting in treat. In all, he had not half a dozen in his mouth. Even those 2 who had the full complement had to struggle hard with the puris before they would be thrust down the throat. Ramdas' case was then scenic. Now the sadhu, the latest arrival for the dinner, sitting in front, was observed to have finished his share in less than 2 minutes. The same puri, about which Papa has explained. Like rubber, it takes time to thrust. But this sadhu, because he had not had food for 2 days, he was served again with 4 puris, which also disappeared in a trice. Again 4 more. They met with the same fate. The sadhu was looking up for more. At this juncture, the old friend ordered the cook to fetch out the whole stock of puris from the kitchen. Then he approached the sadhu. Maharaj, you may take as many as you like. He served 1, 2, 3, 4 and so on and on until he counted 20. Still the sadhu would not stop. 4 more and the friend stopped, assuring the sadhu that he shall have some more after finishing those already served. At this stage, the attention of all sadhus was directed towards this voracious eater. All commenced to watch his eating process. But for himself, the sadhu was calm, determined. Puri after puri disappeared. It mattered not for him what was going on around him. At every 4 or 5 puris, he was drinking water out of a big brass pot he had by his side. Most of the sadhus present there could not eat more than 4 each. The record which some did not exceed 6 puris, but the phenomenal sadhu had been served in all 34 puris. He was also served more bhaji of curry. He ate them all with 1 pot full of water into the bargain. This affair is narrated here not out of any disrespect to the sadhu, but to appraise the leader of the case of a man who had a tremendous appetite, showing forth the wonderful Maya of Ram. Here also the connection with Ram is brought out. All other narratives, that will go very little insignificance. A person who had not had his food and who had a voracious appetite, how God facilitated him, God was responsible for creating all this in him, and how he was led to this dharmshala, and how the manager, normally people shout, people ask them to go out, but here we find the manager of the book bringing out puri after puri, and trying to satisfy it. Trying to make him satisfied to the extent they can. So the last line of Papa is very touching. This affair is narrated here not out of any disrespect to the sadhu, but to appraise the leader of the case of a man who had a tremendous appetite, showing forth the wonderful Maya of Ram. After 2 days' stay in the shrine, Ramdas and the sadhu Ram left the station, came to Gaya, where they obtained darshan in the temple and had a bath in the holy river Falguni. The next day they started and reached the famous shrine of the north, Kashi, Benares. So through this chapter, Papa is reminding us, though so many things are going on at the outer level, as a spiritual aspirant, as a devotee, effort should be made to connect the events, individuals with him, By reading it probably more and more with this perspective, slowly it will percolate into our thinking style. So instead of telling them what had happened, we will also try to now connect. He facilitated, he facilitated, he facilitated. And this is the purpose of our going through this text. The purpose of the in-depth study of this text is to bring home to this in our mind. That's everywhere there should be a constant effort on our part to link with Him, who is causing all these. This is very, very important. Any other thoughts?
One thought coming is, Swamiji, the same sadhu was refused first by the manager. But Ram was kind enough to expose himself to tell them that he was starving for the past few days, and that made him got his stomach filled. So Ram was kind enough to persuade him to tell the fact, isn't it?
No, we are trying to see the play of Ram. No? Ram in the form of sadhu, Ram in the form of manager, Ram. We try to see in that perspective. And you are watching now as this play. This is the great lesson we are trying to understand.
The world itself is Maya.
Because it is there, it is transient. Nothing stays here on a permanent basis. But still we cling to it. No? That is what Maya. Illusion He has created in us of hanging upon or holding on to things which we know it is transient. I am not going to take anything at the time of my death. But still like it, that is the Maya. I know it, but I can't help it. Still there is a craving in me, desire in me to possess, to indulge, to enjoy, though fully knowing that it is transient. Yeah, you are right. Something about Maya also we should think. But the world we live, we should know. Just now we have read Papa's words, Yeah. Do not forget that you live and move in a world which is really a passing show. Do not be attached to it, nor be in any way identified with it. Take the whole world game for what it is worth. God is the only reality, the only truth, and to reach Him is the principal aim of existence. When you have sincerely struggled for and have ultimately attained Him, you will have fulfilled the mission of your life. Keep up a constant and unbroken remembrance of God. He also said, we are in the Dharamshala, where we travelers stay for a while and then depart. There is nothing permanent here. Go on in. Huh?
Oh, sorry. Yes. I was just going to say, Swamiji, Hari Om. If you could expound on this Maya word a little in depth, please.
Correct. Unless and until we intensely go through all these things, it will not have a dent in our mind. Because the moment we come out of the reading, the moment we come out of all these thoughts, we are carried away by the transient nature. For we think that it is real. We forget that it is transient. We know, but we don't know. Or we cannot help getting attached to it. I think very, very important.
Yeah, this is very good, Swamiji, what you just said. That we know that the world is transient, but still we cannot help getting attached to it. And that's where the whole sorrow comes.
Yeah. Anything else?
Swamiji? Swamiji?
Yes.
Panchavati is mentioned here also. Our ashram Panchavati.
Probably that would have been the reason for naming this ashram Panchavati. We have to take it like that. When we started coming here, we were also told Panchavati. So we asked, where is Panchavati? Then they said there are five trees.
5 trees.
Right.
Here there is mention about Odi river Palguni also. We see a devotee by name Palguni. Yes.
Correct.
Ram is in all are in Ram, and Ram is all in all. Very similar to that, I came across this sloka in Bhagavad Gita, sloka number 30, chapter 6. It says, those who see me in everything and see everything in me are not separated from me, and I am not separated from them.
Right.
It's a very parallel situation.
Because it is only truth, so it has been expressed in a different way, that's all.
Hari Om, sir.
Hari Om. So though this chapter looks innocent, it gave us a lot of in-depth study and clues, and even the purpose by which Papa took up this narrative of inquest of God.
Swamiji, can we say God is Maya also and Daya also, kindness?
Can we say God is Maya also, kindness also?
Correct.
But is it simultaneous?
Is it simultaneous?
It is simultaneous. We know it is transient.
Yes.
But knowing that again we go along with it. Then we are asked why you are making, that is my play. No?
Yes.
And all of us have a role to play.
Sure.
So as long as we are in that level, we have to take it as a play. So he is there in the form of a science or Maya, but at the same time he is there, as truth. And if we ask him, he says it is my leela. More of it can be derived, when we go in that. Okay then, let us see what is in store for tomorrow. Tomorrow is Sunday.
No, Saturday.
No, tomorrow is Saturday.
Okay. So once again we pray for all blessings on the dear departed soul of dear Kanma, for eternal rest and peace at his holy feet, and also to bless the members of the family and friends for strength and courage to bravely face this. Hari Om. Om Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Ram. Om Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Ram. Om Shri Ram, Jai Ram, Jai Ram. Hari Om. Hari Om. Hari Om. Hari Om. Hari Om. Pranam. Pranam.